We shared this selection of connectors earlier. And connector applications. A series of dialectical relationships between. What about now? So let's move on to a new topic. Share this connector after selection. How are we involved in our manufacturing process? Something important or something critical. Conduct quality control. And some targeted maintenance work. How about the implementation of the connector? We are actually in the connector. From the structure of the connector, we will have a few more critical manufacturing processes. This key component we contacted. Are there insulators we're talking about? It also has a very important component for us, terminals or conductors. There are also some auxiliary protection, like a shell, this fastener, this series. That is manufactured throughout the production of connectors. And in the process of doing that, as part of this insulator, it's a very important manufacturing process. What we use. Almost all of them are engineering plastics that we conventionally talk about. The main part of the production and manufacturing of engineering plastics. It's injection molding. Injection molding for our contact. The entire manufacturing process. It's a very important part of the production process. What about in this production process? We have one. There is a specialized field. It's injection molding and injection molding. This is the so-called field of mold processing. In this field, for our contact, we had some very specific requirements. In continuous application, what about this injection molded part? It is usually used for electrical insulation and electrical isolation. Such an important function. What about the same time? It also takes a so-called security guard. This mechanical protection and other auxiliary functions. So, some key features of this injection molded part. In other words, the requirements of some key indicators. It is isolated from electrical components related to electricity. There are also some physical properties of this. Parameter requirements. How about usually? We will have some appearances for injection molded parts, or some mechanical damage such a request. How about these things? For example, what kind of shrinkage and warping are we talking about? Including some cracks. Including this, some injection molding. Bad formability? How about these things? This industry is developing so far, the development is very mature. And these things? What about these so-called bad things? In fact, everyone is already familiar with it. Also compared. You know better. The mechanism of their formation. And some damage to the components themselves, everyone will know better. So here we are. Don't do too much discussion and division. This one. What we mainly discuss is component structure of its injection molded parts. There are some structural defects during the molding process, or some defects related to structural strength and fatigue. What about this thing? The most critical electrical performance of a connector. And this security, one. It's highly relevant. We mainly talk about this thing.